But that yesterday, of course, was a very big day with Mr. President himself making a very major appearance at the Nigeria Economic Summit Group. It's been quite some time, Mr. President was at the event. But yesterday he made a very personal appearance. He spoke, then listened to everyone else and spoke about the state of the economy. But the government official that provided the bigger picture of what the government is doing and will be doing in line with the gearing up for the year 2050. Nigeria's population, 400 million in that year, is the Finance, Budget and National Planning Minister, Zainab Ahmed. Let's take a listen to her.
The structure of this population shows that majority will be under the age of 35 years, representing a large percentage of Africa's young working age population. The opportunities are endless. The risks, however, if we do not accelerate our efforts towards sustainable and inclusive growth, are also significant. We must improve on human capital. There is an urgent need to design policies that will not only address the rising population, but also ensure a paradigm shift to a competitive private sector-led economic growth and development. The agenda for this summit is therefore to provide strategic and innovative ways of getting maximum benefit from the expected demographic changes. While reflecting on the summit theme and on the projections for our country's future, I want to put out this question. What do we want our future Nigeria to look like, and how will we sustainably finance it? I see a future where the majority of Nigerians have been sustainably lifted out of poverty and have access to fundamental services such as education, health, water supply, and sanitation. A future where we are all financially included, with affordable access to financial products and services. A future where we are leaving no one behind. I also see a future with a thriving and booming private sector-led economy that can translate into domestic revenues for government to reinvest in sustainable growth levers. I see a future where our young and vibrant population is well educated, particularly in science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, creating a workforce with the skills that will well position our youth to be gainfully employed. This includes high-value digital jobs that will not only tap into, but also drive the limitless global digital economy. I see an advanced high-technology manufacturing sector that is globally competitive and can ensure value addition for natural endowments in raw materials. I see a safe and secure environment where people and businesses move freely and fearlessly to go about their trade, their work, and their daily activities. This future that we crave for will not be created by luck. Neither will it be created by the federal government or the state governments alone. It will require collective action by all stakeholders, including citizens as well as the private sector. As we all know, the private sector has a critical role to play. This future will require comprehensive targeted reforms. It will require tough decisions and radical shifts in the current culture, including attitudes towards taxes and public finance. Just as the saying goes, no pain, no gain. I must say that the journey will be painstakingly tough and will require sacrifices on all sides, including government, the private sector, the citizens, as well as other stakeholders. The future requires huge financial investments on multifaceted physical as well as social areas by both the federal government, the state governments, and local governments to be able to provide quality, useful, accessible, affordable education, healthcare, transportation, housing, electricity, and water. Additionally, we must be in a position to provide digital connectivity and innovation and rise above the tide of disruption from the fourth industrial revolution that is springing on us. The outputs of the 25th summit will be critical towards co-creating the Nigeria we envisage and the Nigeria we all deserve. They will aid government in developing and implementing the next generation of plans and also towards the implementation of the current 11 government priorities. These priorities include macroeconomic stability through coordinated economic, monetary, and fiscal policy, 2, fighting corruption and improvement in governance, 3, improving health, education, and productivity of all Nigerians, 4, ensuring energy sufficiency, 5, ensuring sufficiency in the petroleum products sector, and 6, improving transportation and other infrastructure. It will also include the drive towards industrialization, focusing on micro, small, and medium enterprises. We need to also improve security for all citizens. We need to continuously work to enhance agricultural self-sufficiency to achieve food security. We need to enhance and improve on the social inclusion program and scale it up to cover more people. We need to improve access to mass housing and consumer credit to enhance financial inclusion. Within all of these 11 priorities, the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning is integral to the achievements. Integral to the achievements of our collective goals under the 11 priority is the need for a significant push towards mobilizing domestic revenues and the prudent management of emerging fiscal risks. The Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning is focusing on enhancing revenue generation, revenue collection, as well as monitoring, particularly through a continued implementation of the strategic revenue growth initiatives, the ongoing reconciliation of the monitoring of revenues by the Presidential Revenue Monitoring and Reconciliation Committee, the review of current tax laws, and the development of targeted fiscal reforms to coincide with the annual budget cycle. And 4, the development of innovative ICT solutions, such as the Ministry's Project Lighthouse. This Project Lighthouse is aimed at leveraging and mining big data to enhance revenue tracking to inform decision-making. On tax laws, we recently constituted a National Tax Policy Implementation Committee, which has been reviewing various tax laws and has currently produced a single draft finance bill to support the federal government's 2020 proposed budget. We plan that going forward, the annual budget will always be accompanied by finance bills to enable the realization of revenue projections. Permit me to just speak a little bit on the 7.5% VAT increase proposal. This is in line with the recommendations of the Presidential Committee on the funding options for the national new minimum wage. This administration remains committed to increasing financing for investments in health and in education to improve our human capital development indices. Given these aspirations, the government has been compelled to review all our fiscal policies, including a proposed increase in the VAT rate. Nigeria's VAT rate as a share of GDP has declined from 1% in 2023 to 0.8% in 2018. This is significantly below the median of 5% of GDP in other comparator African countries. Nigeria's low VAT to GDP ratio is attributable to the low nominal rate, which is now at 5%, the lowest in the African region. And in the African region today, the average VAT rate is 16%. Furthermore, the efficiency of the VAT collection is today at 0.2%, well below the African average of 0.33%. The proposed VAT increase is likely to impact more on consumption by urban communities and the wealthier sections of the population than on the poor. There is still exemptions from VAT on food items, on health items, as well as on education, and several others. The Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning continues to work closely with the monetary authorities to tighten the fiscal to close the gap between the fiscal and the monetary policies. We also are working to ensure that financial inclusion continues to be prioritized. For the past 4 budget cycles, 500 billion naira has been programmed and has continued to be implemented. The same provision is made in the 2020 proposed budget. Additionally, we continue to prioritize human capital investments, with spending in the health and education sectors getting optimal attention. We are also working to optimize management of both our domestic and global risks. We're working to increase coordination between ourselves and the monetary authorities. Finally, I want to say that we are working to integrate annual budgets and medium-term fiscal strategies into a rolling medium and long-term plans. Our commitment in this area has already yielded results, as His Excellency, the President, will be presenting the 2020 budget proposal to the National Assembly tomorrow. With this important step, we will be getting one step closer to our goal of returning to a stable January to December budget cycle. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the summit program has been structured to ensure effective participation as well as robust and impactful public-private dialogue. I'm confident that this engagement will be very rewarding and productive.
Nigeria's Finance, Budget, and National Planning Minister Zainab Ahmed. It's the 25th edition of the Nigeria Economic Summit this year. So we need to look back at the last 25 editions, and that's what the current chairman of the NESG spoke about when we come back after the break.